Yeah, it seems like there might be a trough in fiscal 2Q, which is next quarter. It will kind of depend. There was an inventory buildup, so it kind of depends on how fast those inventories deplete, because while demand isn't particularly strong, it might be kind of weak, it is somewhat stable for the most part. So in terms of unit demand, when we think about end markets, smartphones doing a little bit better, PCs definitely doing a little bit weaker. But on the other hand, as we think about the second half of the calendar year, we might see seasonal demand pickup. We might also see some content expansion opportunities for Micron when we think about AI smartphones and AI PCs. We're not exactly sure what the demand will look like yet. There is, we do believe that there will be some uplift from that.
So is Micron a company that does have an AI angle, doesn't have, but would like to develop one? How do you guys think about it? How does the street think about it?
No, they definitely do have an AI angle. Actually, if you look at their data center revenue, a lot of that is coming from AI right now. So they have a number of different products that are actually benefiting from AI. I think the one talked about the most is high bandwidth memory, but that's still very nascent. We think it's only going to be about 10% or so of sales, maybe a little bit more now after the recent guidance for next year. So it's pretty early. It's growing off of a low base, but as we take a look at some of the other products, they also have high capacity DIMMs, which are DRAM modules that go into servers. They have LPDDR5, similar style product. And then they have data center SSDs, which slightly different story. We're seeing a little bit of a demand moderation right now, so things are maybe cooling off but could re-energize later in the year.
So that's what I'm wondering. Do you feel like the stock reaction then is overdone based on their AI potential?
I think right now it's just expectations were pretty high.
Okay.
A lot of it was based on AI. I don't think there was a particularly strong expectation for traditional markets, but at the same time, the weakness in those markets was more pronounced than expected. And so you're starting to see this sell-off. High bandwidth memory really hasn't quite inflected yet, so we're not really seeing those results. We're not really seeing that in their results yet.
So how much of this is a sector issue, PCs, handsets versus a Micron issue? Because I like this story, and it's like back in the day when I was actually running some money there, I'd be like, take a look at this name here in this pullback today.
Yeah, look, I mean, again, I think it'll come down to how much traditional demand sort of reemerges in the second half of the year, how much seasonality really exists. I think there are a few catalysts to re-energize that. One of those being PC refresh cycle. There's also been a push towards more premium tier mix of smartphones. People upgrading, say, from just the iPhone 15 to the iPhone 16 Pro Max.
Or the iPhone 12, but whatever that's called. Not me. I'm not that
Actually,
lame.
I do have an iPhone 12, so
you do?
I do need to
I can throw
upgrade
shade. Where does, this is a supremely silly question, but where does Micron sit in the AI world? Like, their customers are who? They get product from whom?
Yeah, so some of their customers include NVIDIA. They now have 3 high bandwidth memory customers. I think one of them is AMD, and another one might be Google, given that they have such high demand for their TPU. And that's partially internally. But they also, that's for high bandwidth memory, but then also some of their other products that I mentioned before, like LPDDR5, their high capacity DIMMs, those are being sold into AI servers as well. But then, you have to keep in mind that some of that revenue, in fact, the majority of that revenue right now is coming from the traditional compute side. If you think about servers that are based on the Intel and AMD CPUs.